conflict of interest statement. As the Surrey County Board of Elections, we have a duty to avoid conflicts or appearances of conflicts of interest. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or any appearance of a conflict with respect to any matters coming before our board today? If so, please identify the conflict or the appearance of a conflict and refrain from any participation in the particular matter. We will proceed with our approval of the minutes of April the 30th, 2024, which is before you.
Chairman, make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of approval of our minutes of our last meeting, say aye.
Aye.
You're approved. Secretary. All the minutes are going around for signature. I will proceed to open our public forum portion of our meeting. Is there anyone present or online that wishes to speak before our board today? If not, I will proceed to close our public forum portion of our meeting, and we can proceed with our absentee ballots when, Madam Director, you're ready.
Okay. Our statistics today are ballots that have not been returned. We have 100 civilians still outstanding, 1 military and 1 overseas, for a total of 102 not returned. Ballots that have been returned not okay are 2, and 1 of those will be up for the board today that has been cured. And then ballots returned okay, we have 32 civilian, 2 military, for a total of 34. And then our grand total is 138.
Thank you.
And today at 5 o'clock was the cutoff for any requests. So no more ballots will be going out. We do have quite a few that have not been returned, of course, but maybe they'll vote early or.
Was most of those have that, were they checked on the previous ballot?
Yeah.
To return and they didn't
Second primary.
call, yeah.
Yeah, and then some checked on the absentee ballot request form for the whole year. And but many don't anticipate voting for a second primary.
That's why there's so many non-returned.
Yeah, yeah. And then today we have 3 recommend approval, and we have 1 that we were waiting on, that the gentleman fixed his photo ID exception form. So
Okay,
you want to go ahead and take a look at the 3?
let's do that.
Yeah, on expired driver's license.
If 65 and older, it can be expired. Mhm. Had to do a little math on that one. And if it's under 65, it can't be expired for more than a year. Mhm. Thank you. I get to open these.
Good to open.
All right, can we get a bipartisan team to check the machine, please? Last time was 178,747. Middle 191,181. And the bottom 191,182.
We got it through.
Thank you. And while that's going on, if you all want, you can be reviewing this one. And this voter originally filled out the photo ID exception form, but forgot to sign. So I sent him a letter with a new photo ID exception form that you can see he did sign.
The close the last time was 289,853 and 852. That's it.
You're good.
All right, awesome. I'm glad you marked those.
There's one there that might not go through.
Oh, is this?
Cut. Yeah, and I probably was the one that cut it when I opened it, but it's not all the way through, but it might not go through.
Was the military done on the ballot, regular ballot?
We don't have any military today. They're all civilian.
That's two previously.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What's the count in there, Jessica? Pretty.
So our public count is 31. There it is on the tapes, and there's our closing count from last time, so it matches. Thank you. And we're good to go ahead and feed in.
Yep, those are, they're still looking at the one.
All right.
Try that bottom one first.
Okay.
That's the one I,
All that's left is just a signature the first time through.
that's all. And I'd already verified his, the numbers he provided, but the reason he checked on this last one, he didn't have to have it anyway, but
Okay.
yeah. He checked that the first time, but he also checked disability the first time. So
Thank you. Okay.
So his numbers did match, didn't
they did, it matched his record, his voter record.
If you're looking for a motion on this,
Yes, sir. Mhm.
do we have a motion?
make a motion that we accept this ballot, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion and we have a second to accept the ballot that we just looked
Thank you.
at. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Approved. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yep, what's your total there?
Our public count is 35. If y'all wanna just be back, probably can see it from the chair. 35. Thank y'all.
Accepted that one?
Yep.
That's great.
That's good.
The remark.
That's good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Luckily down there, it was, the bottom of the ballot's empty.
But if
So
we
it was at the
have a
bottom.
Remark, why not that?
I know,
Best time in the world.
I know, that's right.
And then I'm gonna seal up the top with that 289 8. And then the other two will stay the same, 191 181 and 191 182.
Oh, for remark that.
And so here are the stats for both the statistics report and today's report. And just know that today's report says 3 because you all had to approve the 1. And then I'll send around this report with a little pink flag, and that accepts the report from last week from the one you approved last week. So last week we ran 10, but the report showed 9. This shows 10. So it's catching up for that one. We'll have one next week, or Monday rather, for today's. So 35.
Don't expect it to mean today as you had yesterday.
No, come to, I know, they were thrilled and shocked. They did 6 curbside yesterday in the rain. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, Randall said, okay, enough already. When it comes out, he said, I'm soaked. Cause we don't have a tent. He's so good. He was joking, of course, but I know, yeah, I mean, it
Of all
was
days.
of all days.
Yeah.
But we found out, why yesterday evening, with the group. that had come. So, but we're like, okay, good, bring them every day.
Was it mostly one group?
They had a big group from throughout the county, but a lot of people from Elkin, who came and Hal Weatherman, I think, was not here, but was at the restaurant yesterday. Yes, yes. And most of them came before and after the luncheon. Mhm. But the staff were thrilled to be busy. They've knitted baby blankets and read novels and talked about every topic under the sun. Huh?
Was that like 19 folks?
48.
48 was yesterday.
Oh, you're kidding.
And
Oh,
going
I
from,
didn't see that. Oh, my goodness, they were busy.
our record before that was 19.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So they went from thrilled with 19 to 48.
Oh, my goodness.
We're pleasantly surprised.
Wonder how it's going throughout the state.
We have a huddle tomorrow, so I hadn't really looked at anything. We have a huddle in the morning.
It's really what everyone expected.
People are saying, I didn't know there was an office.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then was it 13th district has a runoff too?
I think so.
And it
That
13th
local,
House of Representatives.
house, yeah. I think it's 13th house. So they probably have a little more down there.
And she said, aren't you? I said, no, I'm not in your district.
So
Yeah, I have a friend to get in touch with.
theirs might be a little more active with a house, but maybe
But I don't
not
know.
like a local.
5%.
We're saying 7 at the most.
Here.
it'll be a long night Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So we're
Thank
here.
you.
But the length of this meeting.
Bring your sleeping bag.
And a lot of people sitting on their hands.
I know it,
A lot of money.
and you gotta have a bipartisan team, you can't not have a bipartisan team, so. Well, some counties do, but
It used to be fair.
we're not gonna do that.
Had runoffs because it used to be under 50% you could call runoffs.
I'm sure that was all the time,
Lots of runoffs, then it went to 40, now it's 30.
30. Thank you, sir. All right, here, I actually have those punched, so I'm gonna.
Sorry, but a lot of things for us. That's it.
And the counties foot the bill.
It's-
That's the tough part.
That's the
Yeah,
tough part.
there's a lot of-
Think all of the 5 people and they were sitting right here now.
Did they have money for that?
Yeah, we budget, we don't,
For that?
yeah.
Okay.
Luckily, our county manager advises to budget for it. And then if it's didn't happen and the money's left over and goes back to general fund, great.
Yeah.
If not, it's earmarked.
May grab an extra ink pen.
Yes,
This just died.
Easier to have the money in the budget than to have to go back and
Yeah,
ask.
and there's a lot of counties that they don't do it that way.
Mm-mm.
We've seen on the listserv, a lot of panicked counties that are like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, we budget, we have to. But not all county managers think the same either. And I'm sure their council probably thinks that way is why the manager does. I'd say. I
Okay, all the signatures are in on the
think we got all the reports.
information
Yep.
and machine is closed, proceeding on to
Yes.
other business.
Yes, sir. Just briefly, I think you all got the emails concerning the concern that was brought to our attention a couple days after the primary from a precinct official about mental competency. And did you all get to see the whole chain? Okay.
Yeah.
And after I responded to the precinct official this last time with the information from the memorandum of law that Mark did. The precinct official said, great, thanks for the clarification. So hopefully all the answers were right. And then interestingly enough, Dwayne saw this yesterday. That we want to make sure federally that all states are not disenfranchising mentally challenged folk.
Does the state law mirror the federal law? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge.
Has to.
Yeah.
And
See it.
I think through our process, what we're going to do, Sydney and I talked about this the other day, is when the chief judges pick up their supplies on Monday, this coming week, we're going to remind them that absolutely that's acceptable, but please make certain whoever is assisting that voter, they sign the log. That, and then we're good. You know, we're covering all of our bases.
It's my understanding of the memorandum saying that the voter who may be somewhat disabled has to be able to communicate.
They're supposed to be able to tell the precinct officials, I want Clark to assist me. Clark is my neighbor. He has come with me, whatever it may be. They don't have to explain. They just say, this is who I want to assist me. Or if they come, they don't have anyone with them and they're asking for assistance, any precinct official can assist.
Right.
Anything further than that, this is slippery slope. You start
It's
disenfranchising people.
Yeah, it's really a narrow.
it's very, very narrow.
Yeah,
And it could be a public relations
I'm sure.
beyond other things.
You have to be so careful.
You have to be careful.
And the article that I picked up on yesterday,
Yesterday.
was written May the 6th, yes. The U.S. Department of Justice recently issued updated guidance on the rights of people with disabilities when voting. And I won't read the whole thing, but I'll just, some of the highlights. Notably, the Justice Department points out that guardianship is not a valid reason to keep someone from voting. The American Disabilities Act, ADA, prohibits a state from categorically disqualifying individuals who have intellectual or mental health disabilities from registering to vote or from voting because of their disability or guardianship status. Further, a state may not subject groups of people with disabilities, including individuals who are under guardianship, to a higher standard than imposed on other voters for demonstrating the capacity to vote. In other words, what you do for, it has to be broad for all voters. Voters who need assistance casting their ballot due to a disability have the right to receive help from the person of their choice with requesting, completing, and returning their ballot. The Justice Department said whether that person be in person or via absentee or mail-in ballot. And of course, the Justice Department was upholding what ADA is asking for, and that was clarity. And, you know, if you have someone to come in, I'm just going to say, if someone comes in with someone to assist them and they're blind, they're deaf mute, who of the, you know, of our staff there, who of the precinct officials can read sign language or such? You know, how do we know what the communication is? And there's where it really narrows down. And you know, disenfranchising someone's vote, that cuts deep. Everyone deserves to vote if they're qualified as a voter. And this is really, It's a narrow situation.
Yeah, the law, as you said, Mr. Chairman, it's a narrow scope and it's. I can certainly see somebody having a disability that cannot clearly communicate what they want.
Mhm.
And one of our team members, poll workers, is asked to help. They just have to understand that they can't make that choice for this person.
Mhm.
It's got to be their choice, the voter's choice.
Can the person that's employed, that's working at the poll, can the voter ask them to assist them?
That's the only
Yes.
way.
Yes. That's the
They
voter.
can't ask the voter. Yeah, the staff can't ask the voter, do you need help?
That's right.
They must ask, or they must motion or write it down or in some way. But just like the example that the precinct official gave, said one voter was so shaky, they didn't even sign on the line. Well, that's okay. We have a signature, they've made their mark. And they were needing assistance, because think about filling in that bubble. If you can't sign on a line, you're not going to be able to stay within those lines. So again, that's why the assistance portion is available and allowed.
It just sounds like in that case, if somebody can make it remotely in part of their signature, they can take it in, point to
They can,
the place. where they
absolutely.
want it, and
the assistant
Yeah.
can.
they
Mhm.
can help.
Yeah. And I'm sure we've had that happen. I'm sure Jessica has experienced it with, if you've worked early voting, especially, you did assist, yeah. That usually happens.
That someone accompanies someone that is in a mental state or such, and they say, you know, I'm here to help them vote, and they're not communicating today. I know, but however, I know how they want to vote. How do you balance that? And what do you say? Do you disenfranchise that voter?
Stuff, but
That-
as I read the law, it's literally law, unless the voter communicates to
Mhm.
that person is here to help. That person can't.
And
Well-
that's what we train our precinct officials to say is, I understand, and we just need the voter to be able to let us know that.
So
Make
there's
that
some kind of-
request in some way. And then usually the assistant says, oh, absolutely, you know. But I think for us, where it has come into question personally with early voting next door, is mostly mentally handicapped,
Mhm.
Down syndrome, that kind of thing. And then that's where you really teeter on, people are passionate about their children. And if you're questioning that mother, it sets a bad tone right out of the gate. That, and I had one over here that the chief judge didn't necessarily think that they should be voting. And so I said, did the
I think it
voter-
satisfies everybody,
Yeah.
but going back to, it is the law.
yeah. And that voter stated their name, their address, without encouragement, without help. And I said, if that voter did that, that voter can vote their ballot. And to me, and she said, no, that he did state that. And I said, well,
That's all the problem.
that's,
That's it.
yeah,
It's an interesting situation.
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
If they get to their ballot and they're not able to communicate, do you stop it at that point?
That's a good question.
Or do you let the person that might be assisting, not a precinct worker, but a person accompanying, does that ballot then qualify for a provisional ballot?
In other words, if one of our team came back and said, this person is not able to communicate
Mhm.
what they want me to do,
I got you.
what do they do then?
Then you could do provisional, but that person's still gonna mark a ballot. Provisional's not gonna help in that situation.
Yeah.
And it might be that I say, you know, I'm having a hard time. Sir, ma'am, is it okay if I get someone else to come and try instead? And then just, you know, you never know in the mix of the staff, someone might have experience with, you know, you never know, but thank goodness that hasn't come up.
Usually if
But-
somebody is in that shape, they have someone that can with them to assist them.
Most 99% of the time they do, yeah. And a lot of times those people vote curbside. And that takes care of itself sometimes, but I do understand too, especially with Down syndrome, they want to come and be a part of the action, you know, the activity. So most of the time, those voters want to come in and be part of, where they feel like they're more part of the process.
That's good.
So I just wanted to make the board aware that we've been communicating with this poll worker quite a bit since the election, and I admire his, he's sort of, you know, he couldn't look over it, and I understand, I think he did it the right way with expressing his concerns and how to go forward, and he is working this next election too, so I think we've worked through and resolved questions. Exactly, yeah.
I think we've just got to be careful, or I say this because I've got family members who are autistic.
Mhm.
Who have voted both in this county and family members who are not in this county. I'm fortunate to be one of 8 brothers and sisters, so I speak for a large family, lots of nephews and nieces. We've got to be really careful that we don't, that we don't cast any aspersions on those who are trying to vote,
Mhm.
as if they're trying to do something that they should not be trying to do in casting their votes.
Mhm.
If we do, we're asking for trouble.
Mhm.
That's
They're right.
we don't need to be assigning any intent
Mhm.
to. I mean, that's a person that's going in there who has enough challenges.
Okay.
You betcha. You betcha. And
And parents have seen and lived those challenges with them, and so that makes them all the more adamant
For
that
that-
they have their rights
for
too.
that person
Yeah.
to go typically with a parent,
Mhm.
occasionally with a sibling, but typically with a parent to the polling place to try and cast their ballot. And our precinct official, there's always 2 sides to every coin.
Yeah.
We need to be mindful of that.
Be very careful.
That's right. Mhm.
I think ADA is, I think of Bob Dole, that's his signature
Yeah.
That's
from
right.
him receiving wounds in World War II.
That's right.
It's helped a lot of people.
Mhm. And the only person, of course, that is prohibited from assistance in assisting someone is an employer. Cannot assist an employee of theirs. That is prohibited, but otherwise,
Even if they ask for them.
even if they ask for them, that's prohibited. Mhm.
Gee,
So,
it's a fine line and a fine balance out there for our precinct workers, and
but then again, we're not asking relationship.
Mhm.
We're not asking relationship. We can't
It's
do
not
that.
our-
So that's also not as cut and dry as it
It's not.
means. In a small community, you just about know. But other counties, they're not gonna know. There's no way.
Rely on our precinct workers' common sense.
And again, that's why you really try to get your precinct workers that live in your precinct, if at all possible. Now, does that happen? Can that happen? Absolutely not. But the majority, and that's a big reason why, you've got the trust factor. Most of them know pretty much their precinct, their folks, their usuals, so to speak, that participates. And on that note, I think everybody's met Jessica, but I'll introduce Jessica. She started yesterday, Jessica East, yeah. And we're happy she came back and returned today, so, yeah.
That is a good sign.
But it's so good to have her. She's already got the lingo. She's worked in Sosa and Overett for 4 years now, election day and early voting. And she's really served in every capacity, testing, hand to eye, recount, LNA. Yeah, so every MAT team. So every part of voting she has participated in. So
That is wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
That's great.
I know, Chief Judge, yeah, that's gonna be, yeah, and early voting Chief Judge, ooh, that's gonna be hard, but we'll do it. She's gonna help us recruit too. Right, right.
Jessica, we appreciate you being on the team and you bringing to the team. You're not a rookie, but
Right.
you're bringing so much that your experience is going to carry you very far in the office and
Mhm.
coming up to speed where it needs to be and surpassing.
That's right. No honeymoon period, no. And it's gonna be good to have this extra person in the office. We were talking about early voting plan, for the general, to be able to have one person at each spot start off. It's gonna be fantastic. Yes, it's
There, yeah.
Feel like you can breathe there.
we can breathe a little, and then if we do have a dire need that a early voting worker we've got 3 hours there, we're not gonna have coverage, we could even pull, we can always pull staff over into Dobson, but, again, it gives us more flexibility, so. I'm really excited,
Less room for error.
yeah, we could just,
Have you heard any, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, not that we make it.
oh, I just sliced the ballot right there, so I do all the time, I'm the worst.
Have you heard any, bad acting or anything about not having any branch offices to vote early? Just having this one?
No, people, like I got a call this morning from a gentleman and he said, okay, well, that's what I thought. So, cause I said, well, we just have the one here in Dobson for this election. He said, okay, well, that's what I thought. He was fine. So I think everyone just making sure that there's not one in Mount Airy.
Yeah.
So I've not really had a complaint at all. It's just people calling to make sure. Yeah, so I don't think so.
That's good.
They're saving those calls for the general, for pilots.
They should appreciate we was trying to save some money,
That's right.
save money and save staff.
That's right.
The yellow line is painted and clear at Elkin, done, measured, remeasured, everything's good.
Ready for Tuesday.
Ready for Tuesday, ahead of schedule, so we thank Rick for that, he got on that in a hurry. And we're also gonna go ahead and go over the line at Mount Airy. Jessica pointed out that it's very faded, and
Good idea.
and so we're gonna go ahead and get it done too, so. Yeah,
After early voting in Mount Airy, it might be worn out again with all the foot traffic.
everybody and everything's worn out. They hug it at Mount Airy. There's a couple that habitual offenders. Jessica can name the 2 habitual offenders every election.
Their deals.
Get to
Yeah.
the inside of it, inside edge.
And that's all I have.
That's all you have. Anything further? Sydney, Jessica? You're up for 15 minutes. You're
We didn't tell you that part.
well, welcome.
Now, Barbara, you just said she didn't get one.
Well-
Just today,
Just tonight.
just
Well,
tonight.
Just in this situation.
One time pass.
I'll take a-
Barbara gives you a one-time pass.
Anything further from the board for the good of the order? If not,
When's our next appointed
Monday, and then
Monday,
Monday at 5, and then Tuesday we'll have 2 meetings, so that should be,
2 and
should be quick.
would be 2 again.
It will be 2, it'll be 2 o'clock, and then, yeah, the 7:30 one, so.
Into meetings that day.
Look, Barbara looked at me.
I would ask, I'm asking her.
I was gonna ask you, would you rather have spaghetti or lasagna?
Spaghetti,
Oh, look, she asked you, Drew.
spaghetti.
I'm with Paul.
You say spaghetti?
Spaghetti.
Oh, I think it's
Spaghetti.
good. thing.
I'll have spaghetti.
That aren't you.
Y'all have spaghetti.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Like about 3 food.
I seek a motion for adjournment.
Okay, I was gonna say for spaghetti or for adjournment, okay.
We can discuss this after we close.
Chairman, I make a motion. Close the meeting.
We have a motion. Anyone have a second? We have a second. All those in favor of closing our meeting?